Hey, everybody, my name is Ramon Ray, publisher of zoneofgenius.com and Bitdefender Small Business Ambassador. Thanks for being here today. Whether you're watching this, whether you're hearing this, or you could be just scrolling and reading, and so you wouldn't even hear any of this if you're scrolling and reading. But today we want to talk about one thing and one thing alone with two of the best people on the planet. And I want to demystify and unpack search. That's right, a simple SEARCH, a simple six-letter word, search. I want to demystify that. And where I want to take this with these two experts who are going to help me do this today is really, we all pretty much know Google search. And Favor and Pierre, maybe we'll go backwards and unpack that a bit. Those who don't know, we'll talk about Google search and keywords and all the things. But then I really move to AI search. What is it? How does it work? And people go on Google or Bing, or they go directly to the AI search engines and type in what they're looking for, and search comes up. So before we start, Pierre DeBois, good to see you, man. A long time friend of mine. Me and Pierre have known each other for over 10 years, long time. Pierre, first tell people who you are, how we can reach you, and what's the core of your business is, who you serve and help. Then I'll ask you, Favor, the same
Well,
thing.
hello. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Pierre DeBois. I'm the founder of Zimana Analytics. I work with businesses, small and large, on trying to improve their marketing and business operations through the analysis of data. And Ramon has, like Ramon said, he's known me for a long time. Started out with Google Analytics, helping people to understand how that works, and still working with that today. But I also work with clients who need help with data. There's a thing called data modeling, which is a little bit more advanced, a little more statistical, but can help you with things like forecasting for your sales and trying to figure out what's correlating for that. Been doing this now for 16 years. Yay. I'm also a contributor to CMS Wire. So you'll find a lot of topics ranging from analytics, and yes, including AI, who's not doing AI, but also in terms of marketing and business, helping people to take that data and really craft. And then one quick little side note
Please.
too, I'm also an adjunct professor at two universities, working with Trine University in Indiana, and then also teaching with Champlain College up in New Hampshire, but all remote and all online. And you can find me through LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, a little bit with Clubhouse, and also a little bit with Chatter as well too.
Awesome. Pierre, glad you're here today, man. Pierre DeBois, and we'll have his links and others. Pierre, before we go on, since you know so much about data forecasting, let's test him, Favor. When will I reach $27 million in sales? And when will Favor reach 101 million 29 cents in the dollar in sales? When will we hit that number, Pierre? No, you don't have to answer this. Okay. Um, Fa- Favor, good to see you, man. Again, Favor is someone I've known for a minute. Recently got to know him, and just, man, how brilliant this guy is. And he can dance too, but we'll save that for a different conversation. Favor, talk to the people. Let us know who you are, what you do, who you serve. Feel free to talk a bit about yourself, and of course, how people here can be in touch with you when they want to do so, please.
Thank you so much, Ramon Ray. Appreciate you for being here and creating this opportunity for us. And also, it's glad to be with you as well, Pierre DeBois. My name is Favour Obasi-ike, and I'm based out in Houston, Texas. I'm the founder and owner of Work and Play Entertainment and also a podcast host of We Don't Play Podcast.com, which has been running for 6 years. My business has been running for double of that. I've also been in the entertainment business industry for a quarter of a century. This is actually 20 years plus running. And I've been doing this in the area of music. So I started off with music as a self-taught drummer, turned that into business, where I was able to now help a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, creators from small to large business corporations understand how to use SEO, which is search engine optimization, and apply it to their business, apply it to their lifestyle, apply it to their consumers report. So most times when people are looking for information, they're looking online on Google, on ChatGPT now, and there's some questions that people ask, how do we get there? We're able to show them how we can strategically place them on the map and also sustainably keep them on the map, because it's one thing to rank and another thing to be debunked. So you want to make sure that you're not there by surprise. You're there actually because you planned to get there. And if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And one of the things that we also do is make sure that you're connected to the service provider. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but Google has an internet search provider, an internet service provider, which is Google Search Console. And that's how they used to call it webmasters back in the day. So everybody that has a website needs to be a webmaster, and that's how you show up on Google. So that's how we help businesses and clients. Our podcast has over 560 episodes now. We're in the top 20,000 out of 4.5 million shows across 155 countries in our 11th season. And we still keep going because we know that learning never stops. And that's why we keep doing this consistently. And if you want to listen, connect with me, please reach out to me on wedon'tplaypodcast.com or playinc.online, or you can just connect with me. My name is Favour Obasi-ike on LinkedIn and across all other social platforms. So I keep it consistent and keep it clean.
Ooh, I
Thanks for
love that consistency and clean. Favor, I'll start off with you, Favor, the first question. And I wanted to go back into the history of search and all those things, but I think for now I won't. To not only to save time, people can Google that if they want. But anytime y'all want to differ what I'm saying, feel free. Take the conversation where you want. It's us three talking. But Favor, I'm just going to jump right in, Favor. I'm going to get political right now. Is Google search traditionally, as we know it, blogs and content and SEO and all the stuff that you and Pierre have done for the last 5 million years, Favor, is it still relevant and or is it quickly dying in a reverse hockey stick?
I'm gonna say this is the best time to actually be on the internet because most people are saying is SEO gonna be here? It's been here and it still will. Because I even call all these AI searches and components cosmetics. Because if you look good and you get makeup on, you're gonna look good too. So it's the same thing with SEO. SEO will expose the beauty because now with AI, if it exposes your SEO, it means that you really don't know what you're doing or you really know what you're doing. So how that's measured is through people finding you on different searches, and that's how you know it works. Because if the car is working, it's working. If it's not working, it's not working. So most people want it not to work because they feel like something else is working. And that should be the opposite. Because right now, if you want to show up on these AI searches, you first have to show up on Google. You first have to show up on Microsoft. You first have to show up as a business on a search database. There's no way you can show up at the door of someone's house if you don't have the address. You can't show up at on a boarding ticket. You know what I'm saying? You need to have a boarding pass to board the plane. So you can't get on the plane if you don't have a website. And that's why I like to give analogies like this so that it's easy for people to understand that yes, SEO is still important, AI is as important, but both of them need to work together to become of importance to the society we have today.
Favor, I didn't say you should be preaching, man. Come on now. We too early in the show to start preaching, man. That was good. Pierre, please tell me you disagree with Favor. Please tell me he's wrong. All the headlines, all the geek headlines talk about the demise of Google, the demise of search. Publishers' traffic is crashing like a whatever it is, Pierre. I mean, so why are the headlines there? USA Today, New York Times, the big dogs talking about plummeting, plummeting, plummeting. So if Favor's saying that is correct, and if you agree with him, now if you disagree, it's fine too. But my point is, I'm trying to get to you. You understand what I'm asking? Why are all the headlines talking about the cataclysmic end of the world, talking about search? Why, Pierre, in the context of what Favor just answered?
I would say it's a terrific question. I don't think it's necessarily dying out, but I'm going to put an asterisk to that. It is evolving. And it feels like we're in a movie Jurassic Park, where we think we can control how the animals are evolving, but they are evolving in ways that we have not quite understood yet. And then the good news is that's okay. Search was built on the idea that someone like us, anybody, could sit in front of a laptop, type up a few keywords, and then all of a sudden the web pages come up. And Favor's right. This is probably the great time to get for the web because we still have that mechanism. But the challenge now is that the way that we search for our websites has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Search was built on documentation. It was built for PDFs. It was built for websites, but for certain elements within a website. We all forget that websites is software. So we always think of it as oh, it's just something on a screen, but it's software with elements which a search engine would look for.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we have more AI tools that do not only the searching, but they can interpret the context. So that's a big difference. Whatever comes up on a search page, as humans, we get to interpret that. If Pierre's apple pies comes up for a search for apple cobbler, that it's still good for me because that means people can find me. But with AI, it just means I have to be more precise about whether I'm offering apple cobbler or offering the recipe for apple cobbler, or maybe Pierre's apple cobbler service with also Peach Cobbler being able to come in and have some things available for people as well. So I think I don't. It's an exciting time. We're in the first movie of Jurassic Park, by the way, not the whole rest of the series yet, at least not yet. But I think, I think for me, I'm more like the Jeff Goldblum character in that first movie that's questioning, a little bit about why are we doing this? And I think as a business owner, that's what you should be. You should be Jeff Goldblum, questioning a little bit more about what the steps are about how your customers are discovering you, because it's no longer going to the browser. They are going to ChatGPT, to Claude, to Perplexity. They're going to these other spots to start their look and take a look and see and get the answers that they need. And
I
you
love
better be
that.
providing answers. So
No, I love that. Again, Favor and Pierre, feel free to jump in, stop me, anything you want, anytime. Feel free, no problem. Favor, to Pierre's point, is there a difference? And I'm not even sure how to ask this favor, so help me ask the question or answer it however you want. But to Pierre's point, many people are increasingly going directly to the AI search engines or AI tools. I'm doing it. I have ChatGPT installed on my phone. That's my default. I could have picked Perplexity, could have picked Claude. I don't even know if it matters. Remind me to ask you that. But that's what I have on my phone. So generally speaking, I'm asking, now for Korean restaurants or where to eat, I'm still using Google Maps. But for generally speaking, hey, Cafe Bustelo, is it really full of that much caffeine? Normally I'd go to Google. Now I'm just speaking into AI. So my question to you, Favor, is I think it's my question is, does that make a difference in anything, or is the mechanics and fundamentals still the same? Meaning, as a business owner, you helping your clients, does that mean anything, or is it really not anything? Of people going directly to the new AI search engines versus them going to Google, which we're seeing more Gemini responses, or going to Bing, we're seeing more Copilot responses. Is that like the movie is coming together? And feel free to answer this in a different way, or however, if my question was confusing.
No, that was perfect. Thank you for
Okay.
that insight. Yes, right now, if you look at the engines, they're now running on automatic. I think we've been on stick shift for a long time, if I use it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're on automatic. Everything that if your car has horsepower, if it has a V12 engine, it's going to move faster. If it was a stick shift before, it can still do it, but now at a higher velocity, at a higher momentum. So that's the same thing with AI and SEO right now. So all these platforms are enhancing their softwares with, like Pierre said, with information that is going to be contextual engineering based. So there's something called an LLM, a large language model. So now there are 8 of them, including ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Perplexity. All of them are out there. Grok, there's there's so many. So for us right now, our goal is to understand how they all work. Because if you ask where's the best place to eat to Grok, and then let's say Pierre asks Claude, and then you ask ChatGPT Ramon, we're all going to get different results. And those results will be
Understandably, correct. Understandably, that's not a bad thing per se. Okay. Mm-hmm.
right. It's a great thing actually because it's a personalized experience. Now, where SEO comes in is that if I wrote an article that was going to talk about the top 10 restaurants to eat in Charlotte, or the top 10 restaurants to eat in Hawaii. And then I go ask ChatGPT, tell me the best places to go to eat in Hawaii. My article should show up as a result because I asked ChatGPT a result that was based off a database, which I'm connected to. But if I never wrote that article, I can never show up for that reason because I never said it, in form of a speech or in form of a text-based platform. So the goal and the idea right now is, yes, people are searching more with their voices. Kids are using Alexa now, just talking to Siri and getting responses. Nobody's even typing anymore. People are using speech to text, but the same thing is applying where when that text is transcribed into an algorithm, what you get back is as a result of what you give in. And that's what we've been able to demystify with SEO, because now with SEO, you can use Search Console, Google Search Console. You can use Bing Webmasters or Bing, Webmaster tools. That's what they call it. You can use Microsoft Clarity. You can use all these tools to track your progress. There's even a new one called Fathom Analytics. All these are great, but if you now look at tracking AI, that's where you think about new platforms out there. There's one that It's called Mentions. I got to talk to the co-founder of that platform. Mentions is a great place you can actually look and to see, am I ranking on ChatGPT? Am I position 1, position 5? Because those are things that you're able to see now. And that's what we do with our clients to make sure that they're seen, they're heard, and they're also remembered. If they can do those three things, then we know that the business is always going to be sustainable and will always have attraction and, of course, have a bigger market share because that's where we're going to now with digital technology.
I love this. And if anytime Pierre or Favor, if you want to answer the question the other gave, feel free to let me know. I'm moving on only because I assume the answers could be similar, but if things are different, feel free to stop me. Pierre, to that point, curious is that this is not a shift, it's part of the conversation, things I'm curious about. When you think of Substack, Beehive, what's the one, the one with the M back in the
Media.
day? Thank you, Medium,
Yeah.
LinkedIn, other tools that are open to search. And again, y'all always feel free to reformat my questions if I'm wrong, but those tools that are open to search connected. The real question I want to ask, Pierre, what are the 3 or 4 things that the basic small business should do where they don't need Pierre, they don't need Favor? You would just say, do this and you'll get somewhere. And I'm going to talk about services in a minute, but that's what I'm trying to get to. And I guess what I'm shoving into that same question, are those tools good to use? Would you say, hey, do this? I've been preaching for what, Pierre, 2019, as my book Celebrity CEO came out, that every small business should be a publisher. Think like a publisher. I've been saying it. So I know I smashed a lot in there, Pierre, but take what you will from that. I'd like to hear your feedback of what I
Well,
just
I
threw
think
at you.
I think if to again to use that Jurassic Park analogy and also tied to your book. Your book now brings that part 2 for the Jurassic Park in there as well too. Its content is important. That's almost an understatement. But I think it gives business owners an opportunity to think about what they want to be known for. So let's
Hmm.
just think about again the apple cobbler analogy I have. Again, you may have some people who are a bakery and you have some people who are a restaurant that just specializes in desserts. The content between those two are going to be different, even though, people start off with apple cobbler. When you SEO, when I started with analytics, this was my job basically, was to help people figure out, what is it you're offering and wrap the choices of keywords around that. Then later on, geography became important. And then to Ramon's point, when Ramon's book came out, content was a big emphasis. And it's not that the other pieces like links and technical SEO was not important. It's just that Google had became such a big deal. Google really wanted people to focus on content. So now let's bring it back to AI. And also to your question on the platforms, AI is just one more platform that people are turning to. So I think what business owners have to really start really thinking about is not just with content, but what are your customers using to discover you? And you have to
Hmm.
assume that it's not just through the search engine as much as it used to. And it sounds brand new, but go back a few years when we were talking about Amazon and about how people were so, well, I'll see the search, a lot of people were concerned about how the customer was starting their search at Amazon. Well, these were consumers, but not necessarily B2B. B2B tends to be a little bit slower on adoption, but it also gives an opportunity for trying to make that adjustment, to adjust the sales a little bit, to figure out, should we be focusing still on, for our products and services, on a search engine where our customers are, or should we be looking at how do we create a marketing campaign that includes Amazon if our customers are starting there? And then the same thing that we're seeing right now with AI, and what Favorite brought up is a really good point. We're each platform has some way of measuring, and these are the things that we need to start thinking about basically as a business owner. So content, where your customers are looking for. And I would say again, I brought this up earlier, but I want to reemphasize, you really have to think very clearly about product and service. There are a lot of marketing tactics that are available now, and I think what's honestly is happening is that people are starting to lose their way just slightly. You have to think about what is the core thing that, if I'm giving you $1, what am I walking away with? That is what customers are looking for. And a lot of times people, they come to me and say, hey, Pierre, we're getting ready to do something with digital ads. We're going to do something a little bit with social media. Then we're going to throw a podcast in. They're talking, when people do that, they're talking more about the medium, but they're not talking about what the customer will walk away with. That part is becoming much more important. And I think now we have to be all these things tie together to help us to get very clear about what we're offering. And that's what people should be looking for.
I love it. I do want to take I want to ask you all who you are, remind people who you are and who you serve. I want to put that in there right now. But I do want to ask, this is a totally separate question, Favor and Pierre. It's about food. Because you're making me upset, Pierre, because you keep talking about apple cobbler and apple pie. So I do want to ask a separate question, totally
I can
separate.
I can
And
I can throw some broccoli in there
no,
if
no,
you
no, no,
want,
no, no,
Ramon.
don't do that. No, 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 don't do that. Favor, I'm going to turn to you first, Favor. I think one of the best desserts in the world, Favor, is Mrs. Smith's apple pie. That particular pie. Not Mrs. Jones, not Cousin Denny, not Mrs. Smith's apple pie. Warmed in the oven at 400 degrees for 1 hour. Taken right out of the oven with Haagen-Dazs ice cream. That's my favorite dessert.
Okay, you made it a science now, Ramon. That's a
Mm.
science.
See, and my pastor, one of the pastors in my church, her name is Stalisa. She says I should be having vanilla ice cream with apple pie. The strawberry ice cream doesn't go with it. So, Favor, my question to you: I only want a yes or no, Favor. I don't want you to say, "Well, it depends, maybe." Well, what do you like, Ramon? You can't say that. Does strawberry ice cream go with apple pie, or is it only vanilla ice cream? What is your answer, Favor?
I think strawberry goes with apple pie. It's a fruit, so they should go together. I mean, they
Oh
work together.
man,
Yogurt,
nuanced.
so why not?
I like it. Pierre, what do you say, man?
Vanilla, French vanilla.
Answer. See, I would
Because
just
here we go.
take
Here
you
we
off the
go.
platform. No,
See,
I
no,
can't do you.
the apple is the star. You
Yes.
cannot
Okay.
you
Yeah.
cannot mess with the star. You need everything needs to be working for. Put it this way: the apple is Prince. Everything else is the revolution. There you go.
Wow.
Wasn't that deep, Favor? And you know John Lawson, right? John Lawson's a Prince aficionado. We'll go
Yes.
back to AI and search. We'll just make it simpler. Favor, similar question to you, Favor. The tools, some of them are old, but you think about Substack, Beehive, and I want to throw in Wix, WordPress, any other top 10 tools that the regular basic that Ramon uses, not all the ninja tactics that you all know what we hire you for, but are those tools relevant? Should we use those tools? Are those good? Keep doing YouTube and the basics that we've been doing for years? Or is there some things different we should be doing? If you get the question, those basic tools of content. I'm writing a little bit about lawn care, or I'm writing about accounting services, whatever it is. I'm doing my reels, all this stuff that the OGs from Gary Vaynerchuk has taught us to do. Is that still relevant and do, or would you say no, that's changing?
It's so much relevant today,
Okay.
especially now, because most people would write, or let me say it this way, most people would say, I don't need a website. I'll just write my articles on LinkedIn, on Medium, and Substack and call it a day. Now, the problem with that is that you don't own that data because you're writing it on a rented property, which is a domain you don't own. But if you're able to share that content from those platforms to your website and back, then you can control the quality of content that is seen first. Because when Google is looking for your name, if you have a website, your website will show up before your social media. If you don't have a website, your social media will show up just like that. So right now, if you have a website, a Wix, WordPress, Squarespace, yes, Shopify, please get a website because a website is going to be a domain authority that you can use. Yes, AI may not be considering domain authority as the one be all, but it's going to be one of those huge citation factors that's going to lead your content into that search engine. Right now, AI searches are citing anywhere from page 1 to page 4. Page 1 to 2, which means the first to the 20th position, that's your top premium. Kind of like think about like side A, side B. If there's nothing that's fresh, they're going to go from 21 through 40. But you want to make sure you're at least in the top 20 results. Because if Google is looking for something or ChatGPT is looking for something, you want to be part of those results, and your results are coming from WordPress. So if ChatGPT says, oh, according to this institute, that website is coming from a WordPress site. So the good thing is that you have control over the quality. Another good thing is that you're able to control what other people see. Sometimes this has happened to me too, where I could be searching for something and I see the result of a podcast instead of the actual website link
Mhm.
because podcasts may have a higher authority than the website, but the context is the same. So if you're the citation of the branded authority, then you're going to get that, impression. And I'll call it this way. SEO is organic impressions and AI results is earned impressions. So
Mm.
if you can own your impressions online, you can earn impressions later.
And I just want to say, Favor, to your point and Pierre's point, that the stuff that people have been doing as best they can, bumbling along. I don't have the experience. I mean, I know a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but I'm not the experienced OG like Favor is and Pierre for content. But the stuff I've been doing for X years, 20 years, whatever it is, clearly Favor and Pierre, something's working because I've asked the last one or two clients of mine about me being a motivational speaker. They literally, legit, no joke. We went to AI, typed in this, that, or the other, and your name came up. They couldn't remember what they typed, but clearly something to your point of no, it's not. Don't throw all that away.
Yeah,
Clearly the
yeah.
engines
It's
connected
it's like a
Ramon,
long tail,
small business,
basically.
motivational speaker, somehow put all that stuff together. And I've been in the top five list, three list, depending on how you type it. So,
That
it's working.
yeah, and you've been consistent, Ramon. That's the other thing too. I think that helps out. AI, a lot. One of the things that AI that does wonderfully is that there's a lot of steps that used to be a little bit more individual steps that you would take, and probably would take a little bit of gathering to pull together. A lot of the AI tools can do a lot deep. Anything that's deep in terms of on-page SEO, they can do it in a very, very deep way, summarize it very, very quickly. So if you have a lot of content for X amount of years, again, I'll try to use another fruit than apple
Mhm.
cobbler, but
Nah,
respect,
you keep
but
using apple cobbler. Keep going with it. It's good.
but let's say that you've done this now Apple Cobbler for years, and even
Hmm.
if you've changed products, bit by bit by bit,
Hmm.
AI, whether you're using Gemini, whether you're using Claude, whether you're using ChatGPT, it will pick up a lot of that old content, and an AI is designed to take that, break that down, put a statistical response together based off of the words it has, and come up with some sort of, uh, frankly, reasonable explanation that says,
Hmm.
Ramon Ray, did X, Y, and Z, and yada yada yada, and can use that old content. So as a business, the value to you is that you have a couple of choices. It means you don't have to necessarily get rid of old content outright. In fact, that's something you should be talking about with your SEO in terms of strategy. What is it that you're trying to move forward with? I think the only time you ever have to deal with that is if you know that there's a clean break you're trying to make, from apple cobbler to screws and nails and wood carved products, so to speak, basically. But even then, I think the purpose of that is, as a business owner, you should be guiding your marketing in terms of, what is it you do, why do you do it, what are the things that you're noticing in the market, and then how, and here's the big part, what is it that you're solving for your customer, because that is the things, particularly now with AI being involved in the search steps, they're looking for answers. They're becoming and people are using them as an answer engine. So you need to be on your P's and Q's much more so about what is it you're trying to do for a customer. And I think this is something that people will. I think if you're a shop owner, you've already decided this, But I think for solopreneurs and small teams where you have services, that can be tricky because a lot of times people overlap. It's just like being an automaker where you used to make sedans, but now you make SUVs, and now you're competing against Jeep and GMC and other brands that have made trucks and SUVs forever and a day. So you have
Hmm.
to be very, very clear about what that offering is.
I love that. No, thank you, Pierre. And I have about two or three more questions for you, Favor and Pierre. One, I'm going to ask you for some specific steps that we can take to do today to do better in AI search. You've already answered it, but bring it together for me. And then two, anything that's at a higher level. So get ready for that. Some specific steps. Maybe I'll ask it for the new user and for the existing user that's been around like myself for a few years and has already breadcrumbs out there. And we're staying at what we're doing. Just to be clear, we're not going to shift. But before I do that, Favor, recap for the people, Favor, who you are, but more so, feel free to take your time. What services do you offer? Give me a for example. Feel free to talk about. You don't have to give their name unless you want one of your clients. Just give us a, hey, Ramon, here are two or three scenarios of the type of business we work with, what we do for them. Feel free, Favor, to share kind of a little about more in depth who you are, what you do, and for examples, if that makes sense. Unpack a bit more. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, for those who are listening, if you are listening and you're interested in learning how to improve your search visibility, both traditionally with Google search, Bing search, and Yandex search, and all these other tools that we know of, and also with AI visibility, which is ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and the rest of them, this is where you want to be. This is where you want to connect with us, Work and Play Entertainment, because what we do is we help businesses brand themselves online. Some businesses come to us without a logo. Some come to us without a website. Some come to us without a marketing plan. But at the end of each quarter, each biannual or annual time we spend with them, no contracts, no commitments. It's just making sure that you're on a retainer and we're achieving the goals based on the mission that you have. Because some people may have businesses in high peak seasons, low peak seasons. So we are able to connect with all kinds of businesses. As long as you have a website, you're legal, you're legit, and we'll find out if you are. We'll make sure that will rank you online because we don't want no one coming for us because we put you on the top of the map. So we want to make sure that you're good. So we'll build your website from scratch. If you are a new user and you've never done anything online digital marketing, we can definitely do that for you. We have things like masterminds available, private workshops. You can sign up and get 90 minutes of time with me so we can drill things down. For example, we just did that with LinkedIn for a client, and he had about 3 profiles on his account. He didn't know what was going on because people found him on ChatGPT, and they actually asked him to sell his business because he was taking over their market share on the internet. So they were like, "Come work for us. We have all these chain locations," and he said no because he asked me, "Favor, should I take the offer?" I said, "For them to ask you that tells me you have more than what they're asking for. So don't sell it. Don't sell your business." And it's a family business. So I told him, no, don't do that. And now he's thriving. We had to fix his LinkedIn, get him verified with his ID, make sure he's clean, he's professional, and now he's doing so well. We've had another client where they're, multinational company. We did consulting with them, and they weren't showing up on the internet for certain key phrases. They were below about 800 and something thousand impressions, but after 18 months of spending time with them, there were over 3.5 million impressions. So we've seen that by simply putting FAQs, creating strategies, roadmaps, SOPs, things that are very tactical, we're able to make sure that we match their direct and indirect competitors. So we're not just doing SEO for you, we're also doing market research, we're doing intelligence, we're doing strategy and building. And we use that 3, 6, 12-month plan to make sure that you can outrank your competitors. And also, if you have a podcast or want to start one, we can help you build it from scratch too. I've started my podcast. We've now managed over 17 podcast shows out there and still counting. Even my mom has her own podcast show and she's doing so well with it. So I've made sure that the world can hear your voice because it's possible. It's free. It just depends on how you want to spend your time because God gave us our time, but we need to use it wisely. So if you need podcasts done, a website done, digital marketing, or even Pinterest for us to handle your account or do zip code marketing for you, we're all on board to make sure that that is done. So we're a full stack branding and digital marketing agency. Please reach out to us and you can connect with us at any time. My email is info@playinc.online, and I'm sure you'll see that in the description as well. But please reach out to me. I'm available, flexible, and ready to work. So thank you so much for the opportunity, Ramon Ray.
I love that. You're welcome, brother. Info@playinc.online. Yeah,
Yes.
love it, love it. And again, everybody who's listening, hearing, watching, reading, whatever, I've known Favor for a minute here, and we show up on a regular basis on, I might as well shout them out, Breakfast with Champions and more. We've been in rooms together, so sometimes about trust, Favor. I mean, there's all kind of platforms and Upwork and this, that, and the other, and I use those. We all use all these things, but Favor is someone who I know, I trust. I've been around for some time and seen his action, hearing his brilliance. So he's a good man. Pierre, same with you, brother. Before I get to my last one or two questions, feel similar. Deep dive a bit who you are, what you've done. Feel free to give a for example if you want. Talk about kind of some of the best clients who you want to work with. And as Favor said, if you got a low voice, if there's sirens behind you, if you're like Favor, I don't tell don't call Favor. He don't want to deal with you. He love you. You're nice. Maybe you're a nice person, but he just wants to deal with simple, no hassle businesses. He don't want to get a knock in the middle of the night. I'm messing with you. That was hilarious. Pierre, talk to me. Talk similar thing. Unpack who you are.
Well, again, I'm Pierre DeBois, founder of Zimana Analytics. I work with businesses who need help on Google Analytics if they're trying to figure out what the reporting is telling them. Despite AI and despite all the changes, there's a lot of reports, a lot of data, and I run into clients all the time that say, "Hey, I think I know what I'm doing, but I have no idea what this is telling me. Pierre, can you help?" And so what I do is I actually dig into the data. If I can remember, Ramon had recommended me Score way back a while back, and we were able to dig into and it was that's one of the beautiful clients because they had 50 different reports. We had to figure out why they weren't tracking in certain parts of their metrics. This is something that business owners sometimes struggle with. And to be honest with you, it's not that there's some things that are very, very simple, but again, if you're trying to do apple pie, apple cobbler, peach cobbler, all of the fixings, you may not have all the time to go through the data and figure out, is this fitting with the strategy that you want to do? And so what I do is I do the analysis, and I also do a lot of the technical, if you need help with tags, ranging from tags for your digital campaigns, or, in case with Score, the making adjustments on the tags to get the reporting right. And I've done this now for over 16 years. And then on top of that, I also do what's called data modeling. And this is a little bit more like advanced analytics. It's helping people to figure out, like with Google Analytics, you can get trends and some ideas, but your next question is, will that sustain over time? So I can actually do analysis for that as well. And that gets into R and Python. And in some cases with AI, there's some things that are coming out and I'm picking up as well to offer those services as well. Type of clients I'm looking for. I'm very open on the clients. I built my business particularly around black-owned businesses initially, and I still do. But I can work with clients with different industry levels and sets, and different. If there's a product that you're retailing or a service that you're offering, within reason, if it's on search and people are searching for that market, we can work with you to figure out how to construct either a very good, viable marketing campaign with data, or if you have a marketing campaign with data and you're just not sure what it's telling you, we can decode it and help you figure out what your next moves are. And happy to work with you. We work with most types of businesses except for nothing multi-level marketing, nothing excessively crypto and and as Favor said, nothing that's a little bit too illegal. So
Well,
there you go.
Favor didn't say a little bit. He said illegal. No, done. But I mean, it seems like Pierre and Favor that you all could work together in some way too. I would bet Pierre that you have some clients that may want to, not that you couldn't serve them, Pierre, but I'm guessing you could say, hey, listen, Favor has a whole agency. What I'm hearing just here that Favor, that
Yeah.
Pierre could say, hey, see my partner Favor, and I'm guessing that Favor, I just speak what I
No,
hear.
that's
Could even
actually
white
that's
label your
actually
service and say, hey, listen,
Yeah.
Favor now can say we do deep level X. So, but that's just
Yeah,
love
and
seeing two
I've
smart people
partnered
here who
with
could do it.
with designers and developers too. By the way, too, I should have
Yeah,
said that earlier. There are a lot of times I get designers and developers to say, "Hey, we this is the analytics. We just wanted to build a website and move
right.
on." And I've partnered with people like that as well too.
Yeah,
So definitely,
absolutely.
that's a definite.
I love it. Favor, I'll turn to you, Favor. And again, feel free to reframe the question as you wish, but talk to the person unless it's not relevant. Well, let me rephrase this. I'm going to rephrase it. I do think that every business owner, as you get to a certain level, I've reached out to Favor, and I know Favor and I will work together. I have no doubt about that at some point. But I think that some level in your business, you either don't have the time or the expertise to grow your business. This is where, in my humble opinion, you need to hire outside people. No question about it. I have no problem with you cutting your own lawn, doing your own shrubs. Go for it. But at some point, your house grows so much and you need to hire people. I didn't like that example, but y'all get what I'm trying to say.
No,
So
I
my
know that's
point
no,
is,
that's a perfect example. Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
at
yeah.
some
Go ahead.
point, again, either no time or you don't have the expertise and to grow, and you need to hire a Favor. Say, Favor, I heard what Ramon said today. I'm on Wix doing all the things good that I can do. That's good for you, but you need to take care of your clients. Favor, help me get to the next level. Pierre, help me get to the next level. So I just want to set that. So Favor, you first, notwithstanding that level where people should contact you, Favor, give me a few things, 3, 4, 5, 10, 100 things that you're saying, Ramon, to the new business person, you're kind of just starting with your candle company, or you're just starting with your legal services. What are some things in the context we're talking about today that you should say, Ramon, here are some things they should do either for the just beginner or the seasoned? Take it where you want to take it. What are some things they can do themselves?
Definitely what you can do yourself. I believe it's something that you can definitely do yourself if you have the time to, like you said, Ramon, because if you're a new business, I believe that what you have the most is time, especially if you're building from scratch, you're learning all these things, you want to know how SEO works. One of the greatest things you can do right now is research. You know how they say Google is your best friend now, ChatGPT is your best buddy? You can use both tools to understand what's going on. And if you have a new business and you don't have a website, please get a website. You can go to GoDaddy.com, you can go to Hostinger.com, you can go to SiteGround.com, you go even to Namecheap.com. Just go somewhere, Squarespace domains, and get a domain, secure it, And when you secure that domain as a business, now you're able to operate as an online property, as an online asset, as an online brand. And if you have a website, that website also needs to be built in a way that also has SEO incorporated. Most people, I see these every day, that somebody would come with their website, but there's no SEO done. Yet they've paid a full X number of dollars to get it done. But when I look at it, it's not connected to Google Search Console. So if you're listening to this and you're a new website user or a new builder, you can even use a GoDaddy website. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be active and live. At least start from somewhere. Get that domain connected to Google Search Console because it's different from Google Analytics, like what Pierre is saying, because those are two different entities. Those are two different Google products, just like you have Google Workspace or you have Google Business Profile, or you have Google Sheets. They are all different. So when you have a Google Search Console connected, which is Google's internet service provider, that's one step in the door because now through that, people can find you online, people can search for you and get your content because you already have that connection. It doesn't stop there, but it's a great start. When you do that, also connect to Bing because like we've talked about now, it's not only Google that people are using. You want to be everywhere. So the first two places to be on is Google Search Console and Bing Webmasters. You can even go to YouTube and type in how to set up Google Search Console. It's there. It's free. It's available, but you need to use the time and connect it the right way so that it's easy for you to get access to it. If you're an existing website and an existing business, and let's say you've been running for 3 to 5 plus years, 10 years, 20 years, do an audit, run an audit, do a traditional audit of your website. You can go to siteliner.com. If you have over 250 pages, you might have to go through a premium. But if you have less than that, you can run a full scan and audit your website. See if you have broken links, duplicated links, thin pages, low pages, power pages. Those things will be told to you for free. So that way you're able to know, do I need an SEO specialist? Do I need a website again? Do I need to get a consultant? So when you use those existing websites, it allows you to really know where you are on the map. You can go to, for AI, you can use Ethio, ETHEO.co, Ethio. It's a free AI visibility tool that I've even talked to the developers. They're all the way in India. And it's a very good tool. Put in your website there and see what you show up for. You're going to see your competitors and you're going to see yourself. You may not even see yourself if you're not on the leaderboard. So it's a good way to see that. And once you do an audit or you do a fresh website with SEO in mind, you'll be great. And those two will really understand and give you a very direct analysis of what you need to do next, because we've not even discussed budget or scope. But when you do those two things and you're able to know what you've acquired, then you'll be able to now know what you need next because of what you're seeing on the web as well. So those are two different ways you can go about it. They're different ways, but those are the very first two steps that each option could go with.
I love it, Favor. What I'm hearing you just repeat is that one, the basics for those who are just starting out, definitely get your website, do your content, all the stuff we've been saying. I think Pierre and Favor just said that. Just do it, do what you can. And then Favor saying connect your stuff, just connect it, muddle around, figure it out, just connect it to get a little deeper. And for those who've already been doing it, definitely do an audit and get deeper into it. And then, or in the meantime of that, you have professionals here who can help you take you to the next level. Pierre, same thing with you, same little question. Any advice you say for those who are just starting out? Like I heard Ramon, I heard Pierre, I heard Favor, AI, Google, whatever it is. What should they do? Those are just starting out. And then maybe talk to people like myself, whether, as Favor said, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. What do you always tell them to do? Talk to us, Pierre.
Yeah, I'm going to build. Some of these are going to repeat a couple of pieces
Sure,
that
please. No
Faber
problem.
said because he did great with this. He's absolutely right. A lot of times when people start out with a web presence, they don't. There's even now in 2025. I saw this back in 2009, and it was understandable because analytics was just starting out. But even now, there's still this sort of if I throw a website up it's almost like building a house but not cutting the grass. And you can probably get away with that for a while, but your neighbors will start complaining. It will look bad and all sorts of other, everything else that
Yes,
gets into
yes.
it.
It
And
looks
that's
it
how
looks
you,
not legitimate. Taking
yeah,
an analogy forward, you can kind of just all things being equal, but this website, maybe it's one of those illegal places that Favor talked about.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead, finish Pierre. Go ahead. Sorry.
So you definitely want to be able to, when you put together your website, you definitely want to, you need to think about the SEO with the website because it's not just getting the traffic and sorting it out. There's a lot of things that you do pre-launch that you plan out. And then as things move forward, as you plan out your marketing, as you engage with customers, you make adjustments. And that's how that should work. Your website is software. That's the idea. It's software. And any software usually does need to have some adjustment to it. The other things I would say too, for this gets in for both people starting out and people who've been around for a while, is I mentioned about software and evolution. That audit is very important, but think primarily about what are the key messages that you want to give to your customers. A lot of times we are on different platforms, and people's attention spans are not that long. And on top of that, sometimes we don't always have the time to explain all our services. Your website should be able to complement what you would say in front of a customer to a certain degree. So that way you're giving people that key gist, and then they can go to the website or to your core digital asset and review a little bit more about how do you deliver those services? How do I set up a payment? Do you have a pre-meeting where we can sit down and talk? I mean, these are things that can kind of keep things churning a little bit and build branding for you. So that way, even if the customer is not quite ready to do business with you, they can do business with you later on. Ramon, I have a gentleman who I'm getting ready to do work with, and it took probably almost 5 years to get to this point, basically.
Yeah.
Very nice, and he's
Hmm.
starting out, but he's had a lot of little bumps along the way.
Of course.
If you're offering a service to your other businesses, you have to be patient. You have to understand that sometimes people are not ready, and that's not an affront on you. It just may mean that there's other things that they may need to get through before they come back. And so your two jobs are put it aside, generate another customer who is hopefully will pay, and you can kind of get going, and that you won't wait 5 years to get to, but you can still have some fun and kind of keep moving forward. And that's what and your website should help you to do that. Your digital property should help you to do that. One last thing I'll share with too. If you are stuck trying to make decisions on content, there are AI tools that can help you plan it out a little bit better. Google has a great tool called Notebook LM. Favor's heard of this before as well too. Um, it acts like an AI, but what you end up doing is putting content local, um, relatively local. Things like links to articles that you've saved, maybe PDFs of white papers and documents. I do presentations all the time, so I've put presentations in it, and then it will do a search among those documents. So it's a great way to get some consolidation of ideas when you're stuck, because that gets into content creation, and that also gets into how do you make some sort of changes to your website. These things can help you speed up that process, and you should be looking at AI. It can generate a lot of things, but its real power is summation and helping you make adjustments quickly. And I think this is where it's been a big boom for. That's why, going back to what we talked about earlier, it's been a big impact for SEO, but for businesses in general, they're very good summation pieces that can help you in getting some tasks done much more faster, particularly when it comes to content.
I like that. And one other thing I wanted to add, Pierre and Favor, and then if I didn't ask you both anything, feel free to, before we end, I'm kind of done here, but if anything, Favor, comes to mind that you want to mention, or Pierre, feel free to do that. One thing I'm hearing is that, to your point, Pierre, I think you kind of unintentionally put even a better bow around this than you guys already did a great bow. But is that what I'm hearing is for publishers that are SEO driven only, kind of the fast news of the day? It seems like, but feel free to correct me, that is a different problem and a cataclysmic problem, relying just on banner ads. It's the news of the day. Shoom, Google search is over, maybe ish, where they're scrambling. But for the core business user, lawn care, accounting, tax services, I build houses, whatever. No, Google's still going to find you. It's just maybe one level in front of you summarizing it. So just keep doing a better job so the AI search engines know you're out there. That's kind of
Yeah,
maybe, is that is
it's a
that Pierre? Is that
search
right? And then
behavior.
Favorite jump in.
Search behavior is evolving, but it
Yeah.
doesn't evolve the same way for every industry. I'm going to use a product that
Mm.
as an example for this, and this is going way back. When Chrysler first built the first minivan back in '84, Ford and General Motors came out with their versions of minivans. GM had a really good one called the Chevy Astro, and I think it was called the GMC Astro. I think it was also
Mm-hmm.
under the GMC banner. Long story short, it did not sell very well initially because it was designed more like a truck.
Mm-hmm.
Gas mileage wasn't good, but instead of discontinuing it, GM found that a certain audience, delivery, loved the truck so
Mm-hmm.
much so that it stayed in production almost 17 years. I think maybe like 13, but I think close to 17. But there was a range where they had to stop building it because it was going to cost too much to do the emissions and so forth. I say all this to say sometimes when you launch something, and this is kind of a general business tip,
Mm-hmm.
you start off with this idea of an audience, and yes, you need to research it, find what the dollars are, get a sense of what people are going to spend, but allow yourself a little bit of surprise about how people's behavior is. And particularly for online, I think that's a big deal because a lot of times different groups adopt to technology in slightly different rates and sometimes in slightly different ways that we've never thought of. Even, and again, another analogy, smartphones. You would never, we forget about cameras a lot, that there's a camera on here and we use this almost as a camera more than we do as a
Mm-hmm.
talking phone.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things that have kind of blurred the line a little bit. And I think as a savvy business owner, you should be paying attention to that and seeing how sustainable that is. That's also key as well too.
Pierre, one more time, give us the name of your website or how we can reach you one more time.
Zimana.com. That's Zimana.com.
Love that. Favor. Anything you wanted to mention? Anything you wanted to add? Anything you wanted to summarize on? Anything I didn't ask? The mic is yours.
Yeah, I'll just say one more thing when it comes to stats. There's some stats that are going around right now that AI gets most of its information from at least 20 sources. And some of the sources, like at the top of the list, is Reddit at 40%.
Mm-hmm.
There's Wikipedia as well. There's Pinterest, which is at the bottom of the list, which should not be underrated. It should actually be looked at intensely. There's also LinkedIn, which contributes to about 5% or so. So if you really think about these platforms and where you're spending your time, it's good to show up on these platforms so that when AI is looking for a response, you're part of that response when they call. And it's easy for you to set up these accounts or just be part of the membership or part of the
Mm-hmm.
community and talk about these things, because when you talk consistently about the same thing and there's something called Google Learn About, and Google learns about you and it tells you information about yourself, you'll be surprised or won't be surprised when you see that what you've been giving consistently for years is what you're getting back over time. It's kind of like dividends. You only get
Mm-hmm.
what you pay into. So if you're able to pay your time and do it well, all these search engines will find your content and find it easy, because when you start connecting your Reddit to your podcast, or you start creating a blog about a topic, or you create a YouTube video and put it on your website, those are small signals that are going to create a huge blow for you in a good way, because now when the wind is blowing, it's blowing in your direction and people can actually find you because they feel the breeze. So if they don't want to feel the breeze, then you can be on the other side of the fence. But if you want to be on the good side, you need to also start early.
I love that. In Favor, I just want to ask you a follow-up. You mean Pinterest, the tool that the ladies use to look at how their knitting patterns is? That tool, Favor? I just want to make sure I got the right tool. That tool?
That tool is underrated, exactly. It's the best tool on earth. Right now, Apple is running ads like crazy because it's September and they're running it for their new flagship for Apple. And every September they do it. Every September they're on Pinterest. Disney's on Pinterest. MasterCard is on Pinterest.
Mm-hmm.
Banks, cards, I'll say even automobiles are on Pinterest. But most businesses, small businesses are not there because they don't know how to use it. But if you're using Pinterest, it can be a great deal for you, and you can actually learn a lot about the platform if you decide to do it. But I know some people may say, yeah, what about Pinterest? No. But if you're really about it, then yeah, you can definitely check in with Pinterest or check in with me, and then I can show you how it is so that you don't have to stress about Pinterest.
I love that. In Favor, how do we reach you? One more time, give us your websites. Give us how you want people to reach you, please.
Thank you. If you want to reach out to me, go to playinc.online. That's PLAYINC.online. If you want to listen to the podcast, you can go to we don't play podcast.com. Either of those two websites will get you to the same destination.
I love it. One more time, everybody. My name is Ramon Ray, publisher of zoneofgenius.com, your small business expert, and Bitdefender's newly appointed small business ambassador. We lock our homes at night, click, click. We lock the doors of our car, beep, beep. Is your small business safe and secure? And get to know more about information like this from amazing people, professionals, and friends like Favour and Pierre, talking about all the things to help your small business grow and succeed as an entrepreneur at zoneofgenius.com.